To promote my new flower shop, I had one place print my business cards, another print my brochures, and a third, my signs. Now my roses aren't red, my violets aren't blue, my geraniums look dead, and I don't know what to do.
Staples can help your business stand out with signs, banners, and brochures that are a true reflection of your company. And now at Staples, spend $50 or more on print and marketing services and get $5 off your next in-store purchase.
Now my business is blossoming, and I'm spending less green.
Exclusions apply. In-store only. Ends 6/23/18.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, and welcome to Conversations with Sapphire JBlue. I am Sapphire JBlue, and tonight I have the pleasure of having author Kenya Moss-Dyme for the first time on my show. Welcome, author Kenya. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to finally be on here.
I used to always see the author advertising her books on Facebook, and I was like, she's a horror writer. I have to have her on. And I don't know why. I think I reached out. We were both busy. We couldn't hook up. But we finally hooked up. And when we hooked up, I'm telling you guys, we have a great book here. I've already let the author know I'm comparing her right away to Stephen King. I really think, like the old Stephen King, I feel like the new Stephen King, he's writing with his son now. It's not as creepy. And to me, when you have a creepy book like yours, it's scarier than like Jason and all those slasher pictures, because this is like ordinary people going crazy.
Right, and that's what I like.
The author tells us Daymares is a 230-page collection of 7 disturbing tales of terror. Now, I want to let you guys know I only read 6, but I'm going to have the author talk about number 7. And I only read 6 because 2 of the stories, when the author introduced to us what was going on and the craziness, I read it again to make sure I got it, or to make sure I was scared enough. But I read 2 of the stories twice because I was like, when did she sneak these crazy people in on me? And that's the way the author does. She just really gives us the story and she builds it up. And then next thing you know, she just eases the craziness into you. Starts off with like a little prologue. So the first story, Junebug, The Earth is Flat, she tells you a little story about being a stepmother and how stepmother stuff is, is always blamed. And it's not always the stepmother who's the person who's bad. Sometimes it's the kid. And you say to yourself, hey, where are you going, author, with this? So we're going to ask the author where she got this idea from, and then we're going to go right into the story. So author Kenya, first tell us, where did the idea of these crazy stories come from?
Well, each story kind of, I put a little blurb at the beginning of each story that tells where the idea either came from or if it's based on something that actually happened in my life. A few of them were kind of loosely based on something from my life, like Junebug. I was a stepmother. I had two stepdaughters. One was good, one was evil. So that's where the thought came from. You know, people want to blame the stepmothers, but sometimes the kids are kind of evil. I had one of each. So that's where that one came from, and I kind of went a little further with that than obviously what happened in my life. But everything is based on either just an idea, something I imagined, or something that actually happened. And Junebug really did not like his stepmother and wanted to get rid of her. But no one could see that Junebug was the problem. Everyone thought that, you know, the stepmother was the problem, and it was him. Even his own father couldn't see what he was doing.
You know, it's crazy because I'm going to say, like, I've been a stepmother too. So when you're a stepmother, you really have to say, you know, you really want to say to the kids, listen, I don't want to be a mother. I just want to be this woman who's married to your father. So you can fall back. You came with the package, and I've accepted you, just accept me.
Yeah.
That's what you really want to say. You don't.
Yeah,
you
we're
don't,
in this together, yeah.
Right. As long as we get along, this is going to go good. But
and when you don't, you're kind of stuck, and it can go pretty horribly.
But guess what? You know, at the end of the day, your dad is going to be in my bed at night, so I'm going to get to tell more of my story than you are. And that's what it's about.
Not fun.
It's hard, but it's a bad situation. So when we have this little boy and he's in the house, first he tries to do little things to sabotage her. And when he notices, like, it's not working, then he's working with his dad. And at first I thought he was going to disappear because when the dad kept on asking for him and, you know, he wasn't showing up, I said, ooh, maybe he's not there.
Right, he ran away.
But, right. Or maybe she got rid of him and maybe this is part of the story. But no, it's not. Because the author has him come back and he is really a little evil kid because he starts with different things that he's going to do, you know, different medications. She feels like he torments her. And that's what he is. He's a tormentor. And every little thing is a torment. When you get a dog and you say, I'm going to get a dog to help protect me, and then the person turns the dog against you, that's a little flaw. So tell us about this little boy who really just needed a good whack.
He needed a whack, or he needed some garlic and a stake through the heart or something.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a bit much. I kind of had Damien from The Omen. That's kind of who I had in mind when I was writing Junebug.
Yes. Yes.
Just evil for no reason at all, except Damien from The Omen had, you know, some DNA that was kind of demonic. But did you get the flat Earth? Did you understand where that came from? The part of the title, the flat Earth.
Yes. Because
so I had a few people who didn't get that answer.
Yeah. People who are playing in dirt. It's either something to do with burying people, something coming out of the earth, and I felt like he was the devil.
Yeah.
And where does the devil come from? The earth.
Yeah. It had a lot of different meanings in there.
A lot of innuendos you gave us.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I was like, wait a minute. He, I think when he tried to poison her first, and when that didn't go the way he wanted it to, then it was like little things, like to let her know, I'm not going away.
Very subtle.
And hi, I didn't forget you either.
Right.
But
she
when
wasn't
the father
sure
came home,
that was going on.
Right. Well, you don't want to think that a kid is trying to kill you.
Okay, who's going to believe you?
I mean, right. Certainly not the father. I mean, you had in here, I'm going to bring up the book for a second, when he is, hold on. Okay. When he is outside, right? And she's like, she's telling the father, we're going to have some time alone, stop calling him, let him play with his friends, all that kind of stuff. He comes in, she gives him a birthday party. He refuses to participate. When she cooks dinner, he refuses to eat. I mean, it's all these little things to make the father wonder what's going on. And afterwards, the father would say, don't push him, give him time. 2 years later, she's still trying.
Right. That's what you do. You can't give up.
Right.
I don't know what her end game
trying.
was. Like, once he's gone, I don't know what her plan was going to be. But I think at that moment she was so relieved, thinking that she had found a solution. She wasn't thinking about, what's going to happen next. She thought it was over for a minute, like most killers do. Once they've done what they're going to do, they're breathing a sigh of relief. Like, okay, that's done. They're not going to bother me anymore. But then you get arrested and, you got a whole new set of problems.
Oh, please, that's your next story. So we didn't even get to that yet. But in an author, I'm going to let the audience know, when you have authors who have books, people don't stay dead. When you have horror authors and you think somebody's going to die and they're going to stay in the ground, no. Prepare yourself for them to come up. Prepare themselves for them to show their ugly little heads and do damage.
You have to.
And the author, do you watch? I'm not going to tell what you did, but do you watch the zombie show that everybody watches?
You mean the one in particular?
Yeah, the
or
one.
Or do I just watch a zombie?
Do you watch zombie movies?
I do all the time. I'm pretty much a around-the-clock horror movie watcher. When my TV is on, it's always on horror, all day long. I may take a break and watch, This Is Us for my tearjerker, and maybe a few comedy things. But outside of that, it's pretty much, horror around the clock. So, yeah, zombies, everything.
Okay. I am not a zombie watcher, believe it or not. I like everything else. I don't like zombies.
Really?
Maybe because it's too scary and it's too close to reality.
Okay.
I don't like zombies and I don't like slashers.
Okay.
So I can read blood and gore, but I can't see it.
Okay, and I know some people can watch it, but they can't read it.
Mm-mm. I can read it, and I can read it really bad. And I can read. I can read zombie, but I can't see it. I can read because Anne Rice has zombies in her book, and I love them. And I can read, people coming back from the dead. It's hard for me to see.
Okay.
And what I'm going to compare your books to is the old Edgar Allan Poe movies. Because that's what we see when we see this, someone coming back for revenge. Okay. He's very big on revenge, and, you're going to get your just due. And that's what I see, because in your second story, there's a horrible, you start off, this is the author, this is how authors get you. They start off with a girl going to work. She's in love with a coworker. She's running late. She gets ready to knock on the door, and it's done. This is where the horror begins. And you ask us in the beginning, because remember I told the audience, the author gives you like a little foreword, and she says to you, what happens when you go to work? Have you ever gone to work and something weird has happened? Have you ever, and this is it, had a case where you felt, why do people defend people who are guilty? How do they get away with it? What happens? So in this story, the author has a creature, of course, and she also has a lawyer, someone who is guilty, and some scary things happen to him until he makes it right. Now, the way he makes it right is nasty, author. I'm here to tell you. The author has nobody's safe. Kids, women, men, old
people.
No, nobody's safe from her. It's like some people say, oh, I would never kill kids. Oh, I would never kill Leo. This author is like, you are fair game. If you have breath in your body, then you are fair game. So tell us, in this story, was it some trial that went drastically wrong for you that you decided, I'm going to get a revenge?
No, nothing in particular. It's just I watch a lot of, things like that and news, of course. And you see these people who are so guilty, they're guilty. And there's always a lawyer who's in front of the camera saying it's a misunderstanding. He didn't do it. It's like, but they found him with the body and his hands were bloody, and he confessed too. No, he didn't have the right representation when they got that confession out of him. So I'm like, how do these people sleep at night? Forget how the killer is sleeping, but how does the lawyer sleep when they do this every day? They get up and they do this and they go on with their lives, and they're really trying to set people free who are guilty. So that's where this story came from. Bruno Powell, the main character, who has this great record of getting people released who are guilty. And this person that he got released was a vile creature. And he got him released so he could be home in time to witness the birth of his daughter. After he killed, he took away someone else's daughter, but he wants to come home. Right, he wants to come home so he can be there for his own daughter's birth. I just thought, like, this is like what happens in real life. And something, this has got to weigh heavily on these people's minds and souls, you would think. Like, are they being visited at night by the ghosts, of the victims?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that came from. And that's what happens to him. He becomes, he starts to be visited by the ghost of the girl who was killed. And she wants him to make it right. She wants him to feel what her mother felt. She wants him to understand, how powerful he is and how he should be using his powers for good.
Good, not evil. I like the way, this is what always gets scary to me with people and these stories, because you know what? Like you said, this does happen. And you wonder, how do people sleep at night? How do people get over it? I work in the legal field, so a lot of times I do see that what happens is that people who are guilty get set free. And you say there's so much evidence, and then afterwards, you know, you'll have somebody say, well, you know, they interview the juror after, and the juror always says, well, I wasn't sure, you know, the state didn't present or the government didn't present the enough evidence. And you're like saying to yourself, how much evidence do you need?
Right. It's a game.
Yeah. How much evidence do you need? He had the gun in his hand. His shirt was bloody. I don't know. We have videotape in this world where we have everything is videotaped. We have a videotape of him coming out the building and going in the building.
Right.
Going in the building with a clean shirt, coming out the building with a bloody shirt.
Right.
What do you need to make it seem like it's right for you? So you having this dead girl haunt him first in the bathroom, which to me could be like one of the scariest places, because I'm a scary girl, even though I like horror. Because the bathroom is there's no escape from the bathroom.
Right.
There's no way. Who's going out that little window? Nobody. Nobody I know could fit out that bathroom window.
Right.
You know, if you have a room window, maybe if you're a little smaller, you can fall out or you can crawl out. There's no way out of that bathroom. Maybe that's why some people say it's the safest place in the house, because just like there's no way out, there's no way in, but it's a trap.
Right.
It's a death trap for you. So you have first the bathroom. Then you have at night when he goes to sleep, which we know at night bad things happen. But because your book is called Daymares, guess what? Things happen in the daytime too.
Yeah. So
he finally figures out to himself the only way to stop it is to really go and confront the crime. And when you confront the crime, I have somebody calling and we can't take the call. So when you confront the crime, it's bad. And you, the author, I'm not going to tell you guys what the author does. But once she confronts the crime, it's all over. And the author, you know, she said it in the beginning. She says, you can't live with yourself when you are trying to, you can't live with yourself when you know you've done wrong. So what he does is he goes and he says to him, did you really do it? And the guy goes, oh, I told you no. But as he starts to confess, this is how you get so comfortable. And, you know, once you start to confess, that's it.
Yeah, because he's free now, so even if he confess, nothing can happen to him because he can't be tried again. So he can relax, like, okay, all right, I did it. You know, it's okay. We're boys. I can tell you, I did it.
I didn't do, you know, I didn't do it all by myself, but I did it. And the key here is, what did you do? And once you ask, what did you do? It's done. It's done. And, you know, I'm just going to say this. Once he did it, he said, you know what? It's done. You did it. It's done. I have to make it right.
Mhm. It was either him or, Saul himself. So, or Bruno himself. He had to make that choice so he could have peace in his life.
Mhm.
Now, if I'd had time, I could have taken him back through his other cases to kind of rectify those too. But, I think the point is made.
My dream is to, when I hit the lotto, to make short films out of a lot of authors' books. And her night would be like a creature feature. So you would have time. Because we would do like a little, yes.
Yeah, definitely call me. I would do that.
Mhm. So I want to ask you about your next story. You have two stories that include old people. So if you think, oh no, she has another child story too. So we're going to get to that one too, a child killer. But she has two stories, the author, that includes children, and two that include adults. Us middle-aged people are safe from the author this book so far. It's the kids and the old
I thought about
people.
that, but I guess so. I guess I did kind of skip over our age group.
Thank you, Jesus.
There's some psychology in that. I'll have to explore that. I didn't even notice I'd done
one.
that. Okay.
With the wife. And this is where I said to the audience, this is one of the creatures that I had put on the advertisement, because you have a wife who, and I want to say this, I have an aunt, and we say this about the old people, old women in our family, don't touch their pocketbook. No matter how tired they are, no matter what happens, they got that pocketbook.
Right.
They're holding on to it. Don't you touch it. And we know when they're tired and they're dragging, the first thing we say is, give me your pocketbook. Let me hold your pocketbook. Oh, no. Don't you touch my bag.
Right.
And I know.
Dare go in it.
I noticed even my mom, we were having some work done at the house, and she was like, oh, somebody has to be here with them. I said, yeah, because God forbid they find the safe with the diamonds. We don't have nothing here. We don't have nothing here. What are we safeguarding? And she was like, you never know, And I'm like, no, I know. We have nothing. Let them fix the bathroom. We have nothing. So, yeah, it's always the older people don't touch. And I think we've all had a relative who you went to their house and you couldn't go in a certain room, or, the old people had the plastic on the furniture. I remember babysitting for a lady that had, her living room was all white. She had a white carpet with a white sofa and white furniture, and nobody was allowed to go in there. It was supposed to be for guests. And every time, and she had plastic on the white furniture, and every time I babysat and she went out, I would just go in there and look around, because I knew I wasn't supposed to be in there.
She never caught you.
And I remember my grandmother, her bed was so high and it was so fluffy. Like, you could sit on it, and she would say, get off my bed. Don't touch my bed. And I remember my cousin, he said, when his girlfriend got pregnant, I was like, how did she get pregnant? He was like, oh, grandma's dead. I had to find out what the hell was going there. She went to church. He said, I was all in that bed.
Oh, my goodness.
He said, I had to find out what was so good about that bed. And I was like, see, that's why God punished you. So for them not to touch the room, and not to touch her things. I laughed. And you, of course, the author gave us a little foreword about her grandmother had some things that you shouldn't touch and some rooms that you couldn't touch. Now, this is one of the stories that you had a creature in here. And
yes, Mabel.
It was a creature that ate a whole school bus full of kids. Everybody was missing in the neighborhood. Mabel, who was so fat she couldn't get in a car, she had to ride a lawnmower around.
Yes. Yeah.
Turned out to be
Mabel was the creature that lived among us. Yes, yes. She had a secret.
And nobody
really had no idea.
Her. No, because she was, the author described her as this big 600-pound woman who rides a lawnmower around town because she can't fit in a car. Her fat covers her, the whole lawnmower. All you see is it looks like the tires coming from her butt. And she dies because she's hit by a sanitation truck. I don't know how the sanitation truck didn't see her, but the guy was drinking. And he hit Mabel, and Mabel died. Boom, gone.
Right.
But her husband finally goes into the house, and what does he find? Bones. Now, I think that is ultimate nightmare, that when somebody dies. And I'm going to say this about Sapphire. I'm friend to the end, Chucky. So when somebody loses a relative, I'm the first one to say, if you need help bagging up their stuff, I'm there for you.
Okay.
I'm going to start withdrawing. I'm going to stop withdrawing now. I don't want to go no more. Thank you, author.
You don't know what you'll find.
Making me realize. And I just told a girlfriend yesterday. I hope she's not listening. So I was like, if you need help, packing up stuff, just let me know. Because I always feel like I'm a jokey kind of person. So even at a funeral, I can make you laugh. Even, your relative dies, I'm there. I'm going to tell you, hold on to the envelopes because the thieves are here. I'm going to say something during the funeral to make you laugh or to make you giggle or to make you lighten the situation. So I always feel like during that time that we're packing up, I'm gonna make you happy, and that's my job as a friend.
Right.
I don't want to go no more. No, I don't want to go anywhere, Arthur. Because what if I find a chicken bone in somebody's closet or in somebody's drawer? I'm gonna go right back to your story. I'm gonna pack up my car and go home.
Well, not everyone is as secretive as Mabel was.
Yeah, but you never know. We thought Mabel
Especially
was
when
a
the
sweet
secrets
old
come
lady.
out. Well, she was kind of a bully too, though. She had been a bully to her husband anyway, so he was kind of relieved that she was gone because he was afraid of her.
But there's men that are afraid of women. We all know there's some husbands, you see them and you see the wife, and you wonder, why is he with that mean old lady? And then,
Comfort,
you hear a story. Yeah, you hear a story that she wasn't always like this and, she has her way and, people believe that kind of stuff.
Right.
So even though we saw Mabel, right, even if we saw Mabel, they were together for years. They all grew up in the same
Mabel
town.
got like that.
It's obvious Mabel came from the earth. And you talk about in one of your other stories about gypsies and creatures with the little girl and the cop. And I kind of thought of Mabel as, something like that, something through the gypsy people.
Okay, that's
because
a good concept.
you connect the stories sometimes. Because I was thinking, in the gypsy, number one, when I was younger, I always wanted to be a gypsy. Because they always show, like, gypsies having so much fun. Even in the werewolf movies, the old ones, the gypsies were the sexy women. Everybody was always jealous of them. They got to wander and do whatever they wanted. They had magic. And you allude to that in your story. And I had just finished reading about Mabel. And I said, maybe Mabel was a gypsy.
In her younger years, yeah, she could have been.
Yes. And magical. I know. I'm reaching here, but ride with me. And the story I'm talking about with the little girl is Ride. Now, I'm going to say this. Sapphire is afraid of the dark. And because I'm afraid of the dark, I don't like to drive at night in the dark. I'm always afraid something's going to come out in the road, like some ghost, some zombie, some crazy person that's going to kill me. I really don't like it. I live in New York City, so our roads are lit. And so I can drive around the city, even parts of Long Island, it's lit. Queens is always lit up. The Bronx is always lit up. Brooklyn is always lit up. But it's places like when you start going to New Jersey or you start going upstate, that's where they've decided that you don't need so much light. And that's the scariest part because they have the woods. Now, you have this cop who is doing his duty. He's checking on people, doing his thing. And guess what? There's a little girl out on the road. And he stops. But he knows there's something right. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you were listening, you are driving in the dark, don't stop and pick up nobody. Put your foot to the metal. You do not stop to pick up nobody. You hit something, you roll around it and keep on going. The worst thing to do is to stop. Where did this story come from, author?
Just kind of like you said, if you're out there and it's dark and there's no lights out there where there are cornfields, just from traveling and going along those, passing the cornfields and looking over there and thinking, if my car broke down right here outside of the cornfield, who knows what's over in there, what could come out. I think that's one of the scariest places to be, is over the cornfield. People work there, and, I mean, it's not scary to them, but that looks, just even thinking about walking, what could grab your ankles, or, what kind of animals are in there. So,
the cornfield is very scary.
It is.
I drove to the Midwest this year, and I drove through a lot of states that had nothing but cornfields. And they're scary. Come on.
Yeah,
we have never been led to believe. We have never been led to believe that the cornfield is a happy place. Those cornfield mazes that people go in and get lost, get killed. The cornfield has never been a good place.
It's not. Nothing good comes out of there. Can't even eat the corn anymore, so there. Corn is not good for us anymore.
I mean, I want to say some good corn, because when we go to Pennsylvania, I'll always stop by the Amish stands and get the corn, because they're giving you like
the
20
Amish
ears
corn.
for $2.
Yeah, the Amish corn is good, but the other stuff is, the chemical, the fake, what do they call it, the GMO?
GMO,
the Amish corn, they're good people. It's good corn.
Yeah. And, I always stop and get their corn. If we're on a bus ride and we see those stands on the side, I always say to the bus driver, can we stop? The bus usually buys them out. But, But there's a lot of cornfields there, too. Now, you have this little girl who is a demon. She has to be a demon. There's no other way. She's either a demon or a witch. What is she, author?
She's just really a ghost. She represents his secrets.
Mm.
And, I mean, I guess she is demonic because she does want revenge. But I think of her as more of a spirit, and she's, you know, there to claim something from him.
Okay. You know, secrets are made to stay secret. We learn from horror books that somebody always knows your secret, or somebody, you know, if somebody knows your secret, if your secret's going on, it's not good. And this little girl knows a secret from him that is bad. And she, like, haunts him and makes it known that she's not going anywhere.
Right.
I think the scariest part in the story is not even the crash. I think the scariest part of the story is when she's in the back seat and she's talking to him. And he asks the question, she asks the question. Then she flips over to the front seat. And she says to him, "You killed your daughter." That is something that I think is a nightmare for a parent. What made you bring this nightmare to life?
I really wanted to try to detail a scary conversation between this grown, powerful man. He's a cop. He's got a gun. He thinks he's a badass. And this little girl who kind of brings him to his knees. Because just during their conversation, and she's just talking, and she's so calm, and like when she sneezes and he says, "Bless you," and she's like, "Don't bless me. You don't have that much power." You know, and she just like, "You're nothing to me." You know, and I really had a lot of fun with their conversation between each other. And she tells him there's no heaven or hell. You know, and she's just breaking him down little by little until he's afraid of her. And he's like kind of trembling, like, "Who is this child? Okay, you got to go. You got to get out of my car." And he's actually scared of her. And that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted her, she knows his secret, but she wanted to terrify him first. Because in the beginning of the story, he talks about how he scares other people. You know, he's this badass cop. He likes to pull people over and con them out of money. You know, he scares other people, but then she breaks him down and scares him.
Yeah, and he doesn't even know what to do. You know, his radio is not working. He's in the dark. She causes him to have an accident, and there's nothing he can do about it. Because he doesn't even realize that she's a ghost or she's a spirit, because she looks so real, like a little girl.
Innocent little girl.
So an innocent little girl. So he doesn't even know what to do with her. And I think that's the scariest part of the story, when you have something that you know is evil, but you don't know what to do with it.
Right. He's no match for her at the end. And she didn't even have a gun, you know. Yeah.
What's the sense of having a gun? What's the sense of being a cop? What's the sense of being the law if you can't control it?
Right.
If you can't control it, number one, if you can't fight it. He doesn't know how to fight her. He puts her out the car. She still manages to get in the car. He drives away from her. She's right there. You know, when he finally feels like, he's away from her, you know, and she's, you know, I'm away from her. I don't have to deal with her anymore. I'm just going to act like I never saw her. She's right there. She's on top of the car. She's right there to cause him to have this bad crash. And you think about it, you can't go back to the precinct and say, "Oh, by the way, there's a little girl out there terrorizing people." You're a grown man.
Right. That's what she told him. He was like, "I'll put you out." He's like, "You can't do that. You lose your job." So she was talking to him like, "You're nothing to me."
You can't. You lose your job. Putting a little girl out in the street, putting a little girl out in the car. What's wrong with you? You can't do that. Now, I didn't get a chance to read Baby Mine. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that story and what's the twist and the craziness that you envisioned for that story.
Oh, gosh, Baby Mine. You have to read Baby Mine. Baby Mine.
Oh, I'll read it by next week.
Okay, so when I was younger, my grandmother would tell my sister and I, you know, grandmothers like to tell the girls wisdom. Mm-hmm. She'd tell us to be careful who we share our souls with, because, you know, every person you lay with was going to leave a little part of themselves with you. And this is, you know, we're young. We're like, what's she talking about? Oh, she's whatever. As you get older, you start to understand that, you know, people call it soul ties or whatever, but every person you're with leaves a part of themselves with you. And that could be figuratively. That could be, you know, you could take that literally.
Yes.
But the story Baby Mine came out of that. Jessica kind of has a one-night stand, if you will, with a former lover that she hates. I mean, he treated her so terribly, and it kind of goes into detail about what he did to her. She hates his guts. Absolutely. He treated her the worst of anyone ever. But she falls under his spell for one night, moment of weakness, and then he leaves something with her that she literally cannot get rid of just from that moment of weakness. So, yeah, there's obviously several innuendos in that. But, yeah, she can't get rid of him, what he left with her ever. But
now, I want to
she
say,
hated him so much. So what she ends up with is something that hates her as much as, you know, she hated him.
Wow. The author gives us a book of scary tales, and I told her that I could see a series. I also asked her was she thinking of putting it into audio, because I could think of some, you know, a male and female reading a story with her stories. And I, you know, when you're reading a book and you have so much craziness going on, it's so funny because you're like, wow, what is the author thinking? I said to the author, has anyone ever told you you're crazy? And she laughed. And I said, did anybody ever tell you that you are twisted? And she laughed. And she said, I think that's a compliment. And I said, it is. Because you have to love that someone can take their imagination and scare you. And I want to let you guys know, like, this is not the author's first book. She has a couple out there, and she's been writing for a while, so I'm going to let you know some of her books. She's in a box set, Dark Rising, a paranormal fantasy romance box setting. That's coming out in May. I'm taking it because it's showing up on your page.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's in pre-order status right now.
Yes.
That's going to be my first paranormal / magic / urban fantasy story. And that's curated by K.N. Lee, along with several other authors who have appeared on the New York Times and USA Today bestselling lists frequently. So I'm very honored to be with you.
No, I am so happy for the authors who got there, and that box set that they got there with. I think it's so amazing. I know some of them, and it's like, it's wonderful. It's wonderful for authors to finally get recognized. And I just pray for more authors. And that's one of the reasons why I do my show. And it's so that people can find new authors. Now, you have also The Good Wife, a complete series. You have Baby Mine, and that's that story there. I guess you put it into a separate book.
Right, I made it an individual, yeah.
Yes. Forever Vacancy, the Color of Darkness anthology. You were part of that anthology, and I can't wait to get like a bunch of you authors on, and we get to all chat about it.
Yeah, that was our first. Came out last year, and there's one coming out this year.
Yes. Mhm. You have the Pulpit Chronicles. Pray for Me. I don't know. Winter Chill. The Mixtape.
Another collection.
And that's another collection. That's crazy. And we have The Devil's Inside. Devil Inside. I think that title is going to speak for itself, authors. Readers. Now, the Pulpit Chronicles, Pray for Me, you have volume 2. So
it actually is one book. When it was released, it was split up into 2 books, but it's actually just one book now, one complete book.
Okay. What is next for you?
Glad you asked. Black Magic Women is coming out February 15th, and that's a collection of stories. I think there's about 20 stories in there by Black women horror authors. And I have a story in there called Labor Pains, and that is curated by Sumiko Salson. That's coming out February 15th. It's in pre-order status right now.
Okay, authors hit me up. I can have up to 6 authors at a time on my show. We can cover that book.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
What else are you working on?
Well, this being February, this is a really busy month because it's National Women in Horror Month, and it's also National Black Women in Horror Month. So besides Black Magic Women, I have a story coming out in the February issue of Siren's Call magazine. I have a story in there called Men Don't Leave. I'm also featured over at Gwendolyn Keiss blog. She does a yearly feature for Women in Horror Month, and she's got a round table with myself and 8 other women doing a round table discussion.
Ooh,
and as I said, there's another anthology coming out this year from the Colors in Darkness movement. Watch for that later this year, possibly closer to the fall or winter.
Okay.
And when I get a chance to breathe, I hope to release, at least a couple more things this year that have been sitting in my queue for way too long. But I'll be honest, I'm not even going to give any dates because things are so unpredictable. But that's the plan.
So I will have the author, if she's still available, she'll be back next week, and we'll be chatting. I'm going to, I know I already asked her about a Monday, but I'm probably going to ask her to switch to Tuesday because it's President's Day. And a lot of people will be away for the holiday. But I look forward to having her back. I can't wait to ask her, if you've been on my show before, I always ask you what I should read. I usually try to pick up something, but I feel like the author knows their work the best, so they always tell me, what to read, and I love it. I want to thank you so much for being on my show. Now, we have a guest author who's calling in. I know her number by heart now, author Ashanti. So I'm going to bring her in. Author Ashanti?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Author Ashanti, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Did you enjoy our discussion tonight?
I did. I actually thought you were getting ready to hang up the phone. I was getting ready to message Kenya to tell her that I'm loving her book so far.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for listening.
And this is my first time reading something you wrote. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Story 3, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know if daymares should be read at night.
It's okay. She can handle it.
Yeah, my husband is here in case I get scared. So yeah, but I'm gonna finish it tonight too because it was really interesting, especially Junebug.
It really is.
He would have got a spanking.
Yes.
So
Junebug
once again, Miss Jeanette. Yeah, once again, you brought me a new author because I had never heard of Kenya, and I just went to her page to see if we were friends, and we are. So I don't know how I missed the book. So when you put the flyer up, I'm like, who is she? So I went to go see what she was reading, and then I added it, and I started reading it. So
excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So much.
Well, thank you so much, Author Shanti, for always supporting my show. I'm glad to introduce you to other new authors, and I hope to introduce more people to Author Kenya because she really has some great books in the horror. I've always seen her advertising. I'm always like, I want to read that. I want to read that. So now I have a chance to get her on my show, and I'm so happy. So thank you, Author Shanti.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Author Kenya, thank you so much for being on my show. I look forward to talking to you next week. And as always, everyone, read, read, read. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Motivation with Amazon Music.
You're still in bed? Didn't you go running?
Oh, I overslept. I'll go tomorrow. I'm getting in the shower.
Alexa, set an alarm for 5 a.m. tomorrow to hard rock music.
Okay, I'm up.
The right song exactly when you need it. Amazon Music, the simplest way to listen to the music you love. New customers start your 30-day free trial at amazonmusic.com. Renews automatically, cancel anytime.